Well, what a season he's had. Brown goes inside. Oh, what a slam from the Panthers have a 3rd and 10. Here comes pressure. So the ball is out in the end zone. And it's Wheeler finds Vaughn from the logo.
Edelman in motion. Edelman takes the swing pass. Edelman's going to throw. He's knocked it wide open. Amendola. Touchdown.
Welcome back, everyone, to our Week 2 NFL picks. Last week, barely had a winning record at 9-7. I feel like it's a repeat of last year all over again. Let's all say what we finished with last week. So I finished with 9-7. What did Mr. Copycat finish with over here?
9-7.
I came in at a measly 12-4.
That's why I said I feel like we're back like last year all over again. I'm sitting here tied for last place. All right, so let's see if we can turn this around with some Week 2 picks. So by the time you're watching this video, Thursday Night Football will probably be over with. But heading into the game, we have what should be a really good matchup, the Packers and the Commanders. And I think the Commanders are just a few stages too early in their development to beat the Packers. I feel like the Packers are a few stages ahead of them, and they are ready to seize control of the NFC. I think they're the more well-rounded team between the two. I think running game is better. I think their defense is a lot better. Their O-line's pretty solid. And their wide receivers are the only spot where I could make some comparisons. I think you have more big playability on Washington's side, but I still think Green Bay's wide receiver core, when they're healthy, has a lot more options to go with. So I think the Packers take this one. I even have them covering. They are 3.5-point favorites, they're playing at home. I think they take this one. I think their defense will be destroying the Commanders' O-line for a good chunk of the game. And as long as Jordan Love doesn't do anything stupid, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, I think this Green Bay team will have a good, well-balanced attack of passing and running, and they should be able to take this one.
I'm taking the Packers. If this was the Week 1 matchup, I might have taken the Commanders, but the Packers looked too dominant last week against the Lions. At home again, I have to go with the Packers. Their defense looks good with Micah Parsons. It's going to be a tough one, though. I think it'll be close.
I'm also going with the Packers only because they're at home. I think if they were playing in Washington, the Commanders would win this game. Last week, the Packers looked really good. The Lions did not look all that great. I'm not sure if the Packers are really that much better than the Lions or if it was what the deal was. I guess we'll find out how Jordan Love does. I mean, we've seen him be good and we've seen him be bad. So if he plays really well, the Packers will win. If he doesn't, I think the Commanders win. So it's kind of a toss-up, I think. So the only thing I'm going to go with the Packers is because they're at home, and they're really tough to beat at home.
Yeah, I do want to also congratulate myself on at least one of my picks. I did pick the Packers to win last week over the Lions, but I was not expecting it to be the blowout that it was. They completely dominated from start to finish. It really was not even a contest. I thought it'd be a lot closer than it was. So I have a hard time seeing the Commanders making it closer than the Lions did. Of course, it was only Week 1, but I still think the Packers playing at home should take the comfortable win here. All right, next we have a divisional matchup in the NFC East. We have the Giants, who looked horrendous last week. I might have given them a little too much credit because they looked bad against Washington. Going into Dallas against the Cowboys, who really didn't look that bad. They just had a few extra drops against the Eagles, and that's really what the game came down to. So I'm definitely going with the Cowboys on this one. They are 5.5-point favorites. I also think they cover this pretty easily. I think the Cowboys' offense will keep rolling. The Giants do have some good defensive pieces, so it could get off to a slow start, but I just can't imagine that Giants offense getting it into gear in one week, from Week 1 to Week 2. So I think the Cowboys roll over them. And as inconsistent as Dak Prescott can be, I don't think he's ever even lost to the Giants, or if he has, it hasn't been since 2020. So he just does not lose to the Giants. I take Dallas here with the easy win.
I was going to say the same thing. I'm taking the Cowboys mainly because they're at home and Dak Prescott hasn't lost to the Giants and
Mainly because they're at home,
yeah,
not just because they're a much better team.
and because they're a better team.
Well, let's hope they are.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
Well, I'm also going to go with the Cowboys. A, I'm a Cowboy fan. B, they didn't look horrible last week. They didn't look really great either. The Giants' offense is still sputtering, but they also dropped a lot of passes that would have helped them out. I know that the Giant people and media people are screaming for Dart already. Man, your season is already over, all right, before it started. Take your losses this year, let Dart learn, and then if you think he's your quarterback of the future, put him in around week 15, 16 and let him play. But you don't want to stick him in right now and have his confidence get ruined because your first 5 games are horrible. You guys have such a tough schedule, and you're not going to win them regardless of who's quarterbacking. So, with that being said, Cowboys are at home, which they're not very good at. They're actually a better road team lately than they are a home team. So this could be a lot closer than anybody thinks. And Dak Prescott, yes, CeeDee Lamb dropped a few critical passes, but you know what? Dak was thrown into double coverage again multiple times last week. So if he continues that, his interception rate's going to go up, and it's going to make it hard because our defense is not as good. So fingers crossed, I'm picking the Cowboys. We'll see.
Yeah, it is way too early to put Dart in.
Yeah.
That O-line is not good. All right, next up we have the Rams at the Titans. Rams are favorites by 5.5 points. They won a very defensive, low-scoring game last week against the Texans. Now they're going up against the Titans in Tennessee. Titans played a respectable game. They didn't score very much against the Broncos, but I really expected it to be like a 50-point spread, and they kept it close. The Titans' defense is actually very good, so this could be a very similar game to last week, and I kind of expect it to be. I think the Rams' offense will do a better job scoring than the Titans' offense, but I think both defenses will keep it a low-scoring game. So I have the Rams winning in similar fashion to the game last week against the Texans. Cam Ward played pretty poised against that Broncos defense. That was pretty impressive, and he did make some nice throws, which his wide receivers could not bring down. He's definitely going to go through some growing pains still, and that Titans team is just not as good as the Rams. So I got the Rams winning this one.
I agree with that. I do think Cam Ward will be good, but if he has no one to catch the ball, then it doesn't really matter what he does. So I'm just going to take the Rams. I doubted them last week. Not doing that again.
I'm also taking the Rams. They're a better team than the Titans, but I'm also in the same line of thought. I think Cam Ward's going to be a very good quarterback. And, again, I wish they didn't just throw him out there. They probably didn't have any other choice. So Rams going on the road are going to get the W.
Next in line, we have the Jaguars at the Bengals. This is a very interesting game to me because these two teams are very, very inconsistent and untrustworthy, really. The Jaguars had a nice win last week. It wasn't the most impressive because it was over the Panthers, but their defense played well. Their offense had a lot of penalties. It probably could have been a much higher scoring game for them, but they got in their own way quite a bit. Could be some week 1 rust, but they do look to be off to a better start than they were last year. And the Bengals tried everything in their power not to start the season 0-1 like they always do, and they really should have. They were one missed field goal away from losing to the Browns. They really did not play well against the Browns at all. And the Browns have a good defense, but
They do.
You got to be able to play better than that. They did not play well at all last week. Their defense played okay, but the Browns' offense is not a test at all. So we don't really know how that Bengals defense is still. The O-line was horrible. So I'm gonna go with the home team here. I'll go with the Bengals, but I don't really trust either of these teams to win this game. So I'll go with Burrow, who I trust a little more, and I'll go with the home team, who I trust a little more. But I could see this being a really weird back and forth. Could be high scoring game, could be low scoring. I don't know what to expect, but it's going to also come down to who plays cleaner, fewer penalties, fewer turnovers. At some point, the Bengals will heat up. Will it be this week or will it be next week? I don't know. But I'll go with the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't trust either of these teams. I'm going to go with the Bengals. Give me Joe Burrow to win the game. But I don't know. I can see this going either way, but I'm going to pick the home team.
Same here. I'm picking the Bengals because they're at home and they have Joe Burrow. They played in the preseason, a lot of their starters did, so you wouldn't think they'd be so rusty. But they were not impressive last week. But Bengals at home getting the W.
All right, moving on to another divisional matchup. We have the Browns at the Ravens. Ravens looked really, really good until the fourth quarter last week. Their offense looked unstoppable. Derrick Henry, Lamar, they were all making the right plays. And their defense looked very good until the last 3 or 4 drives when Josh Allen had the football. I still think they're going to be fine the rest of the season because there are very few teams with the talent level of Josh Allen on them, really, if any, in the AFC. So going against the Browns, I don't think they'll have much of an issue. This is another game. Could start off slow. Browns do have a good defense, and it's a divisional game, but they're playing in Baltimore. I think the Ravens will run away with this one. 10.5-point favorites, but I really think they cover this easily as well.
I'm taking the Ravens, although the Browns do like to play them very tough and sometimes just win when they shouldn't win those games. But I'm going to take the Ravens. They looked pretty much unstoppable till Josh Allen threw for 250 yards in the fourth quarter. But if that doesn't happen again, which I don't think it will, I'll take the Ravens. They're still my Super Bowl pick.
All right, I'm going to also go with the Ravens. I think they're a better team than the Browns. They gave a good effort against Buffalo, but what a great game. I mean, it was just a great game. But I wonder if there's going to be any hangover from losing a 15-point lead in the last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter, where the Bills got them again. They live rent-free in the Ravens' heads. Hopefully that doesn't carry over to this game, and they can put that behind them because the Ravens being 0-2 would be a tough road for them. So I think the Ravens are going to have a little revenge game, and I think they do. I think they cover the spread. They beat the Browns rather easily.
So now we are moving on to a couple AFC East divisional matchups. We have the Bills at the Jets. And we just talked about the Bills had that magical comeback last week. So there's really not much else to say about that one. It's pretty self-explanatory if you saw it. There's just no way to describe it other than Josh Allen being clutch. That's it.
Clutch.
Very clutch. And then they're going against the Jets, who played a lot better than I thought they would. I really thought that Jets-Steelers game was going to be a defensive, low-scoring game. And both offenses lit it up. But the Jets did lose by a couple points. And now they're going up against their division rivals. I think the Bills take this one. I'm still not confident in the Jets' offense for the rest of the season, and their defense didn't really look promising either. I don't know how many times I'll pick against the Bills for the rest of the season, if any, but it's definitely not going to be against the Jets. So I'll take Josh Allen and the Bills to win this one. 6.5-point favorites. Definitely going to roll with them.
The Jets did impress me last week. Justin Fields impressed me last week.
He played well.
He did. He played well. He didn't make anything, no stupid mistakes. It was a close game. But the Bills look too good to pick against them against anyone right now. I wouldn't say. I'd say they're the best team in the NFL for now. It's just week 1, but still. I have to pick them, whether they're on the road or not.
Agreed. I got to pick the Bills. They're my Super Bowl pick. And they looked really, really good. I mean, they looked good even when they were losing, down by 15. But when you got Josh Allen on your team, I guess you're just never out of a game. I'm picking the Bills, I think, probably for the rest of the year.
But speaking of Buffalo, now
Yes.
shipping out of Buffalo, we have lather products shipping from the U.S. in the U.S. Some will still be shipping from Canada, but they are building in Buffalo and once again available throughout the U.S. So make sure you order your lather colognes, deodorants, soaps, whatever else you want to order from them. I'm telling you guys, top tier, much better than bigger companies out there. Go to lather.com to check them out and drop the channel name in there. You might receive some extra goodies in your package. That's not a promise, that's just a recommendation. So see what happens. It can't hurt.
Right, let me tell you, I use all these products. The cologne, the deodorant, is excellent. It will last all day long. Doesn't wear off. It smells great. And I tell you, I use the cologne in my car a lot because I Uber on Saturday nights, and I'll spray it in my car if I have people in there that don't smell the greatest. And I'm telling you, I get people every single week raving about the cologne. Absolutely raving about it. So go to lather.com, order. Avoid the tariffs now because they're shipping from the U.S., so their prices aren't going to go up. Great product.
And that brings me to a game I really didn't even want to talk about. I guess we have to. The second AFC East matchup this week. We have the Patriots at the Dolphins. Dolphins are 1.5-point favorites. Well, first let's talk about the Dolphins. I'd rather talk about how bad they were last week. Dolphins were horrible. I picked them to win against the Colts. I didn't know what Vegas saw that I didn't. Well, they saw something. That Dolphins defense, I knew it wasn't going to be good, but that was horrendous. But the offense was horrible too. Turnovers. They couldn't do a single thing. And sure, the Colts have a solid roster, but come on. At the end of the day, it's Daniel Jones. There's no Justin Jefferson on offense. There's no Jamar Chase. There's no Micah Parsons on defense. There is no reason they should have lost the way they did to the Colts. It was just so ugly, which does give me some hope for this week. Seeing the Patriots game firsthand, it was very, 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 very frustrating, especially in the second half. There was lots of yelling and losing my voice in that second half. Every drive started with a penalty, whether it was a false start or a holding call. First half, Drake May made some nice passes, but the second half he was just running for his life, and it's like last year all over again when it comes to that. And also, we couldn't stop Geno Smith. Now, Christian Gonzalez being out last minute with an injury really hurt us. I know it did, because I don't think Geno would have thrown for that many passing yards, but he still tore us up. So that's concerning. We got some sacks, which was nice, but we were not able to win that low-scoring affair. Even when Brady was quarterback, we would always lose in Miami, and it has not changed since he left. I believe Tua is undefeated against the Patriots and in his career, and we haven't won in Miami in a long time. And out of the last 15 games in Miami, even back when Brady was on the team, we've won 2 or 3 of them. So I'm unfortunately just going to go with history here and go with the Dolphins, go with the home team. Both of the teams looked horrible. I actually thought the Patriots looked better than the Dolphins, but I'm going to obviously hope and cheer that the Patriots win this game, and maybe we can make something out of the season. But if we lose this and repeat history, starting off 0-2, might as well throw in the towel and start getting ready to draft another offensive lineman, because it is not going to be the season I thought it would be. We'll hope for the best.
Going to pick the Patriots. I don't know. I could see it losing. I don't think Tua has ever lost to the Patriots, but with the way he looked last week, I'm not sure he can distinguish jersey colors anymore. Patriots, because that was ugly. I know it goes week by week, but that was ugly. To the Colts, that 33-0 at one point. Ugh.
I am also going to pick the Patriots, mainly because I thought they played better last week than the Dolphins did. The Dolphins, I don't think, could have beaten a good high school team last week. Team just looks horrible. Just absolutely horrible. They need to do a whole remake of that team. Patriots, not looking great either. Raiders aren't a bad team. They got some talent there, so we'll see what happens. But I think the Patriots, regardless of history, I think they're going to win this game, because I think the Dolphins are that bad that history's not going to help them. So I'm picking the Patriots to go on the road. If they lose this one, I don't know. I might not pick them again the rest of the year.
If we don't win this game, I'm going to have to take a mental health break after that. Next, we have the 49ers going up against the Saints. The Saints pretty much looked how I expected them to look last week. Pretty bad. But this is an interesting game because the 49ers are without their starting quarterback for the next 2 to 5 weeks. Brock Purdy has turf toe, is the official injury, but he has a couple other ones as well. So Mac Jones will be stepping in, who did start a couple games last year on the Jaguars and had some good games and had some bad games. Also, George Kittle is out on IR now with an injury. The 49ers are just full of injuries. They cannot escape. It's like the whole team got triple Madden cursed with injuries. Again, somehow. Somehow McCaffrey is the only one that's not injured right now. I don't know how. So I'm going to go with an upset here because I have a feeling there just aren't going to be a lot of games that we pick differently. So I'm going to go with the Saints at home with the upset. I think it's going to be like 17-14 Saints win. It's only going to happen this way if Mac Jones turns the ball over. I think if he plays smart and can make some passes to whatever wide receivers are left on the roster, or if they just run the ball with McCaffrey the whole time, that might be the better decision. They could definitely win that game. And the 49ers defense could potentially make some turnovers and win that way as well. But I'm going to take a little risk here and go with the Saints and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm picking the 49ers. I just think they need to just feed McCaffrey the ball, and the Saints just need to pack it up.
I'm also picking San Fran, even though they have all those injuries. Mac Jones is starting for the 49ers, but you know what? And Kyle Shanahan's system is built for him. So I think he is going to do fine.
That's a good point.
He's got McCaffrey still. He can run or pass too. The Saints really don't. I don't think they want to win this game. They want the number 1 draft pick. I'll say this every week. They are tanking. I gotta go with San Fran going on the road, and even though they're walking wounded, they're gonna come out with a W.
That brings us to another divisional matchup. A lot of divisional matchups this week. We have the Bears at the Lions. I am probably not picking the Bears for the rest of the season. I gave them just an ounce of confidence to beat a quarterback in his first NFL start. The statistics were on the Bears' side here. Quarterbacks in their first NFL starts have a very low winning percentage, but didn't matter. They could only play well for quarter and a half. They blew it. They completely blew it to the Vikings. And I think the Lions, I think this is their rebound game. They're playing at home. They're playing a much worse team than the Packers. Lions are 5.5-point favorites. I think they cover. I think they kind of use this as a revenge game after last week. And I think the Lions do get back on track against the Bears. They could have a close first quarter. The Bears defense might get to Jared Goff a little bit. It's a divisional matchup. It's going to be a little bit aggressive, but I think the Lions just take this one pretty easily in the second half.
I don't know. I'm going with the Lions, but don't overlook this matchup. I could see it being close. But, yeah, the Bears, they kind of just choked away the game. They had the game, and they choked it. The Lions just look bad, but it's okay. I think they will rebound. I don't think they're going to look that bad every week. So, Lions.
Yeah, I'm picking the Lions also because they're at home. I think they're the better team. They used to be, anyways. They can't go 0-2 in the division. I mean, after winning it the last couple years, they go 0-2. It is going to be a tough road for them. The Bears, I don't have a lot of faith in the Bears. J.J. McCarthy, who I think is going to be a very good quarterback, lit him up in the fourth quarter. He struggled for 3 quarters, but he figured it out. So I think he's going to be a fine quarterback down the road, but I have to go with the Lions and win this one rather easily.
Caleb Williams was horrible. I wasn't a fan of him last year, but I thought he could put together enough drives to beat a QB in his first start, and he couldn't. He got outplayed by J.J. McCarthy. Bears fans have got to be worried. Caleb Williams had one good drive, maybe 1.5 good drives, and then it was a lot of this loss is also on him too. He was missing wide open wide receivers. He has the weapons.
He does have the weapons.
Sound the alarm on the Bears. Next we have the Seahawks at the Steelers. I picked the Seahawks to win last week, and they very well could have. They just couldn't capitalize on any of their drives. Too many mistakes, and then they had that strip sack at the end of the game against the Niners when they were so close to scoring. I think Darnold will continue to improve on the season, but my pick is different than it might have been last week. The way the Steelers played, I'm going to go with the Steelers. They're at home, 2.5-point favorites, and the Seahawks are still kind of gelling. They're still figuring out everything with their new QB. Steelers looked a lot more put together. The chemistry looked pretty good. And their defense was horrible last week, and I think it's only going to get better. Their defense is typically much better than it was against the Jets. So I think with an improving defense and a suitable offense playing at home, I think they do take this one. Could be close, but I do think the Steelers start off the season 2-0. I'll give it to them.
I'm going to pick the Seahawks.
Ooh.
I don't really have a reason. I just want to.
I'm picking the Steelers because they're at home. I think it's going to be a very close game. And whoever makes the fewest mistakes will win this game. Steelers at home in a close one.
Now we have a game. This is the game that a lot of people like to pick upsets for, but I'm actually going to make this one my lock of the week. We have the Broncos at the Colts. Daniel Jones played very well. I will give him credit. It does make a big difference when you take someone off of the Giants' terrible roster. But I don't want to overreact to week one. Broncos, they were rusty last week, but their defense still shut the Titans down. I think they're going to become less and less rusty each week. I don't think it matters that they're going on the road. They're playing in a dome. I think Daniel Jones is going to have a much harder time against this very, very, very good Broncos defense than he did against one of the worst defenses in the league. I think this will be a bit of a wake-up call for him. I think the Broncos win this one. What is that, 1.5 point favorite?
1.5, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think the Broncos take this one by at least a touchdown. I'm pretty confident the Broncos winning this one.
I'm not. I was sweating last week. I'm scared for this matchup, and I'm going to revert to last year and pick the Colts.
Okay.
Okay.
I honestly don't know who's going to win this game. I think if Bo Nix just steps it up a little bit, it should be an easy Broncos win. But, man, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm picking the Broncos to go on the road and win this game. I think the Colts played well last week, and they look pretty good. I don't think they can do that every game. And the Broncos' defense is really pretty good. So I think it's going to cause more problems from the Colts than what they saw last week. So Broncos are going to go on the road, and they're going to come out with a W.
Now we have probably America's least viewed game of the week. We have the Cardinals and the Panthers playing in Arizona. Cardinals are 6.5 point favorites. I wasn't really impressed with the Cardinals last week. They beat the Saints by like a touchdown or so, but it was not an impressive win. But I think the result's going to be very similar to last year. The Panthers were not impressive either. So I think very, very similar game to the Cardinals game last week. I think the Cardinals win this one by 7-10 points, and that's pretty much the extent of it.
I think the Cardinals take it easily. Oh, give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals also. I think they're probably a little bit better than the Panthers. So we won't even talk about it a lot. Cardinals at home, get the W.
We have the Super Bowl rematch from last year. Eagles at Chiefs, so this time it's not being played on a neutral field. That does give a slight edge possibly to the Chiefs. And they are 1.5 point favorites, which a little surprised just because of the outcomes from last week. But they are strong home teams. I'm going to go with the Eagles here. I think the Eagles just have more juice than the Chiefs have. They're dealing with injuries. They struggled against a pretty good Chargers team. And the Eagles, they played sloppy here and there last week, but they had enough juice to beat the Cowboys' offense, which I think is pretty much on the same level as the Chiefs' offense as far as scoring ability, or maybe even a little better right now. Their running game was definitely better, and the Chiefs, they have Mahomes, so like that's an advantage, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of people to throw to. The offense is just, it's not great, and their defense is kind of what they relied on a lot of last year, and their defense didn't play very well either. So I'm going to give the edge to the Eagles here. They have the better running game. They have better wide receivers, and their defense didn't play great either. So I don't know. It's probably a little better still. I'll take the Eagles here. I think it'll be the same result as last year's Super Bowl, a little closer. I don't think it'll be as much of a blowout, but I still think the Eagles will handle things.
Well, you just ended with my leading point, which I was going to say. I think it's going to be similar to last year's Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be like 40-6, but I think the Eagles just take care of business pretty much the whole game.
And here's another thing to look at. When was the last time the Chiefs lost 3 games in a row? They lost the Super Bowl. They lost last week.
Probably
if they
not.
lose this week, it'll be 3 in a row.
Probably never in the Mahomes era.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to give you my lock of the week, and that's the Chiefs beating the Eagles. They're not going to lose 3 in a row. The Eagles, the second half of that game against the Cowboys, did nothing. 0. Eagles, I don't think were that impressive. If it wasn't for a fumble by our running back, the Cowboys probably would have won that game. I don't see the Chiefs losing 3 in a row with Patrick Mahomes. They're at home, and they certainly don't want to start the season off 0-2. So I'm giving you my lock of the week. It's going to be the Chiefs winning.
All right, so now we have what I think is I think this next game is one of the bigger toss-ups of the week for me. I've been going back and forth on it. We had the Falcons at the Vikings. Falcons played pretty well last week. Michael Penix played pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
They didn't have much of a run game, but I do expect that to heat up. And the Vikings, they didn't play well for the first few quarters, but they hung in there. And then J.J. McCarthy finally got in rhythm, and he lit up that Bears defense. He's finally starting to feel comfortable now. They are playing at home in Minnesota as well. Here's my first game of the season where I'm giving a little contingency here. If the Falcons go into this game with Drake London playing, I'll take the Falcons for my upset of the week. Even though I picked the Saints also as an upset, I'm not super confident in that one either. So this one will be my upset of the week if Drake London plays. If he doesn't play, I think the Vikings have enough firepower and more firepower to take this one. But I like that Falcons team to win this game if they go in with their full wide receiver core here. Vikings are 4.5-point favorites, but I still think we're going to see times where JJ struggles, where he plays very, very well. And this Falcons team is more complete than the Bears, so I think they could take advantage of that if that happens again this week. So we'll see.
I'm taking the Falcons. It's going to be close. I think the Vikings could win if JJ can find JJ more. It's a toss-up for me, too. I'm just going to go with the Falcons.
I am going with the Vikings. A, they're the home team. B, I think J.J. McCarthy, even though this is his second year in the league, let's be honest, it's his really first year. He was injured all last year. He's going to get better and better as the season goes along. And I think he started figuring some things out with his receivers and getting the timing down and getting the rust off. He's coming off a pretty serious injury, too, let's not forget. And he still was able to run one in for a touchdown. I expect him to kind of pick up where he left off, and I expect him to get a little better. Falcons are not a bad team either. I just think the Vikings are going to be able to pull this one off, too. But I do expect it to be close, like a field goal.
I think I should go first on this one.
Why?
Because I don't want it to look like I'm copying you. But I'm changing my pick from the Texans to Tampa Bay.
Oh, boy.
I don't trust the Texans' offensive line at all.
Oh, boy.
So I want.
But you did 10 minutes ago when you picked them?
I've been back and forth.
Back and forth.
That's why he hasn't been giving commentary in some of the games. He's busy thinking about this one.
Yeah.
So who are you taking?
I'm taking Tampa Bay.
You're taking
I'm
Tampa
taking
Bay?
Tampa Bay to go on the road and win.
All right.
Because you were looking at my sheet?
No.
No. I'm
That's-
taking Tampa Bay also. The Texans haven't shown me much. I mean, they're tough, but they don't have that killer instinct in them that they had a couple years ago when they made the playoff run. Tampa Bay somehow finds a way to win lately. And I think they're going to go on the road and find a way to win against the Texans this week.
Yeah, I pretty much think the same thing. They were a little up and down last week, but I think the Tampa offense will keep heating up.
Yeah.
They're heating up a lot faster than the Texans are. They're way more confident in Tampa to win this one, but I am surprised that the Texans are 2.5-point favorites. I know they're playing at home, but their home stadium is not the hardest place to play, and Tampa just played on the road, I believe, last week and still won.
Yep.
So I don't really understand that. So that's our first Monday night game. That's our 7 o'clock Monday night game. And then we have part 2, our 10 o'clock game.
For all you night owls.
Yeah, and this is for the West Coasters here. We have the LA Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Chargers, this team, it's only been 1 week, but this team is a legit, possibly contender. We'll see what happens the next few games, but if they can keep the win streak going, they made a big statement last week, beating the Chiefs week 1. Their defense looks very good. Their offense looked very good. Justin Herbert picked right back up with his touchdown throwing and no turnovers, which is pretty much what he did in the regular season last year, but he's throwing a lot more, throwing a lot better. The Chargers maybe just needed that extra season to get in rhythm with their new coaching staff because they really look like they've taken a step up from last year. And a step up from being a wildcard team is they might make a push to win the division, and who knows where they go from there. So this Charger team could be the real deal as far as Super Bowl contention. But we'll see how they handle a Raiders team, which good enough to win on the road. Geno played very well himself, but they need to get the running game going a lot more. And they're going to have a lot bigger test with the Chargers this week with their defense. So I think they're still outmatched. I think the Chargers win this one.
I'll go with the Chargers. Do you think that they are better than the Raiders? I think the Chargers are, yeah, a good team, maybe even a Super Bowl contender. It's unfortunate to say, but they might be the best team in the division. Offensively, for sure, at least. Yeah, I don't know. If Herbert keeps playing like this, he could even make an MVP push. Chargers win.
Well, the Raiders are
I don't
not
go that
bad.
far.
I'm not saying they're bad, I just don't like
They're
them.
not bad, yeah. The Chargers are very well coached. Beating the Chiefs last week. I'm not ready to make them a Super Bowl contender, but I think they can make a good run in the playoffs beyond the wild card. I think they beat the Raiders rather easily, but time will tell. We'll see what happens. Granted, it was 1 week, so we can't make too much of it, but they looked really good. So I'm picking the Chargers to go on the road late at night. It is for us on the East Coast that are going to fall asleep watching this game, but I think the Chargers are going to go on the road and win this one.
That wraps up our Week 2 picks. Let us know which ones you like in the comments down below, and we'll see you next week.